Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The topic of this talk is guarding the tongue. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I feel like it's a very relevant issue in contemporary Muslim youth. And personally, I've struggled with this for a while now. So the ability to speak or engage in sophisticated conversation is one of the many incredible gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with. And as such, as a Muslim, it's our duty to use His blessings to serve Him and His creation. Unfortunately, the time that we're living in, and we've had this in at least one conversation or the other, we're used to using a lot of offensive language or talking in an abusive tone. And it's come to a point where, we will put in expletives in any part of the sentence. If you're not elated, you are censored happy. This is not epic, this is the censored. So we've come to a point where, this is acceptable. It's perceived to be normal, but actually it's not. The effect that it has on other people as their perception of you and the effect that it has on you mentally and personally is immense. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah narrates that Anas radiallahu anhu related that the Prophet Muhammad said that the iman of Allah's servant is not upright until his heart is upright, and his heart is not upright until his tongue is upright. And the tongue doesn't really affect only the heart, because you'll find this across many texts, and it's also stated that the entire body warns the tongue by saying, "Fear Allah concerning us, because we're dependent on you." So I want to share a few things that have worked for me in this personal struggle of guarding the tongue. First and foremost is until you realize that you have this problem, you can't really solve it. So we need to realize that I know this is an everyday issue and it's considered to be cool maybe, or it's part of everyday language, you don't even think of it, but it really does have an effect on your iman. Once we've done that, what worked for me was to think before you speak. I know it's easier said than done, but usually I tried doing this. There are 3 questions that I would ask myself before I would actually try to do anything. And it took me a while, but I got it right. So the first question is it true? A lot of times we will say things that we've heard from somebody else, who has heard it from somebody else, who has heard it from somebody else, and then it sort of gets lost. If you can't authenticate it, if you know that it's not true, or if you can't verify it, don't mention it. So that sort of helps you in omitting lying or even worse, slander about a person. The second question is it necessary? Most of the times, as I mentioned before, we're using curse words as adjectives, adverbs, nouns, all parts of a sentence with curse words. And so if it's not necessary, if you just omit that part, you don't have to express yourself using curse words. The curse words or half of the abusive language that you're using gets omitted straight away anyway. And the third question is it kind? As I mentioned, there are a lot of ways to frame what it is that you want to say to somebody. When you're angry, you say these things that you can't really take back, but once you say it, it's out there. And the effect it has on other people is devastating. Specifically, if it's not kind, think of a way to say it or frame it in a different way. And particularly, I want to plead to everybody out there who's listening to this. Often we're really rude to our household. We're really rude to people who serve us, but we need to remember that they are human beings. They're there working for you, but that doesn't grant you the right to say things to them in an abusive tone or in an abusive language. If they did something wrong, there's a way to frame that. There's a way to correct that. There is constructive criticism. These 3 questions, the minute you follow through, is it true, is it necessary, and is it kind, that will get rid of the problem 80% of the time. The second, and I think this helped me the most, was dhikr, remembrance of Allah. We say these things are light on the tongue, but they're heavy on the scale. So, recite the Quran, recite dua, whenever you're free, or we have a lot of pockets of time that we think that, oh, we're really busy, but we're just really sitting there not doing anything. Specifically in Bangladesh, we're sitting in traffic. We're waiting for somebody, we're waiting before an appointment, or we're going to sleep, but we can't really sleep. So there are these times when you can just recite a dua or recite the Quran. What it does is, there is a benefit because Allah is giving you sawab. At the same time, it offsets your bad deeds, and it helps you in remembering Allah. It helps you in remembering that Allah is close to you. He is nearer to you than your own jugular vein. So I think dua and dhikr is something that really helped me. And I finally sort of want to end with this part of an ayat. It's in Surah Hujurat, that's Surah 49, Ayah 11. It says, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَتُبْ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. And those who do not repent, they are the wrongdoers. Allah's mercy far outweighs any of the sins we've committed. So if we go back to point one, which is realizing what we're doing is wrong, realizing that we need to change, Allah's door of mercy is always open. So, we can go to Him anytime. We could, beg for forgiveness and try these corrective steps.
بين الرجاء والخوف قلبي طائر ومن اليقين النور بيض جوانحي فوق السحاب يطير حرا مدركا نسمو كماله للكون وجه آخر نحيا